So yeah, let's move to our question number 6. I already have created a file and here is our code. Let's create a file in our terminal. ETQ6. Okay, so I already have pasted the code for question 6. Let me explain the key differences between the standard input output version and the system input output version from question 5. I only include the stdio.h and string.h. No need for low-level system headers. Instead of file descriptors integer, I use file pointers throughout the code. The display file function now takes a file pointer instead of a file descriptor. Instead of lseek, I use rewind to go back to the beginning of the file. And instead of read write system calls, I use fgets and printf for reading and displaying. The file is open with me a plus, which means append and read access. For appending, I use fprintf and I use flush instead of the write system call. And oh yeah, like for the flush to ensure the appended data is written to disk immediately. Finally, I use fclose instead of close to close the file stream. The overall structure and algorithm remains the same, but the implementation uses higher level standard input-output function. Let's save the file. Ctrl+6, Ctrl+5, Enter. Let's see if it exists or not. ETQ6. Okay, so yeah, it's here. Let me display the full source code for this. Okay, so it's here. No low-level system calls and this file pointers instead of integer file descriptors, function like rewind, read, the fprintf instead of lseek, read write. The A plus the A plus mode handles the append behavior automatically. The code is generally easier to read and write with standard input output. Okay, so now let's compile our program. Okay. Now let's create a test file. Sorry, creating a test file. Standard test line. Standard test 6. Original content OMG original content. Okay, then cat test c.txt. Okay, so yeah, here our text is. So we can already see its initial content, so we can see the before and after state clearly. Now compare system input output versus standard input output approaches. Let me compare. system. Then I again did a mistake. No worries, we are gonna move toward test cases. That's it. HTTP5.c. We are not able to open the file. We are gonna see what we are doing wrong here. This is for system. Okay, so it's working. Good. And this one we are using standard input display function, and the previous one was system input output display function. Without wasting time, let's move ahead. Let me highlight the fundamental difference between the two approaches. System input output uses open with flags like ORTWR or append. Standard input output uses fopen with mode strings like A+. System input output displays use lseek, read and write system calls, and the standard input output displays uses rewind, fget, and printf. System input output gives you byte level control but requires more code. Standard input output automatic buffer provides automatic buffering and easier to use functions. Let's run the program with automatic input. Cool. Running the standard. Okay, cool. This is if appending text via standard input. And we are gonna run our code here. Yeah, we are gonna run our test file. Test 6. Okay. So you can see the program display. The original file content shows the prompt for user input. Receives our automatic input display the updated file content. Okay. The function is identical to question 5 but implemented with standard input output calls. Let's see if the file was actually modified or not. Verification get test 6.txt. Let me double check by displaying the file directly. As you can see, the file now contains our appended text at the end, confirming that the standard input-output operation successfully modified the file on the disk. Even if we use rewind to read from the beginning, right, still go to the end. Let's create a new text to demonstrate this. Now we are going to display original content. Then again forward equal. My bad, sorry. Okay. Get test open. First line, second line. Now appending without manual positioning. Again for good without that set. Echo third line appended eight go six test and dot The A plus moding standard input-output is very powerful. It automatically handles the append behavior. Even though our display file function uses rewind to read from the beginning, all writes automatically go to the end of the file. This is similar to the append flag in system input-output but handled automatically by the standard input-output library. Let's compare results side by side. I'm gonna do this in second part.